Greetings from Cairo. So, greetings, just landed in Cairo a very short time ago, in transit from Peru for 35 hours. That's the way it goes. And so our major tour begins in 2 days. So tomorrow and the next day we're going to do private exploration of some ancient sites that you probably have never heard of, but you will after the fact. I'm not allowed actually to tell you where these locations are because supposedly we are being monitored by possibly officials here of our whereabouts, but we do have permission to go to 2 ancient sites over the next 2 days. One is in the region of the Giza Plateau. I believe it's called the Cave of the Owls. I may have that name wrong, but we'll find out. And so that is located right next to the Giza Plateau. It's megalithic in nature. I've only seen a few photographs of it, but it's because we get we have local connections here that we're allowed to get permission to go and see that. And then the next day, as far as I can tell, we're going to be exploring an ancient pyramid. Again, I'm not going to give you the name. I'll give you the name afterwards when I've actually made a video of it, or possibly live when we're there. It depends on the nature of the permission. And it's a pyramid that either was never finished or literally exploded. So I have made earlier videos. I've only been there once, but we've also been told that we're going to be given access to 2 very long tunnels that are cut into the bedrock. And this was told to me only about 2 months ago. And so we're going again to see if we can do live work there, and if not, then video footage of these tunnels that have only recently been opened to the public, but again, not to the general public, but to the public in regards, if you get the right permit, then you're able to explore there. So it's really quite intriguing because you only have basically the core of the pyramid itself that still exists. Again, it's as though it was under construction or underwent some kind of cataclysmic damage. So there's a major ramp that goes down into the bedrock, into the base of where it is, sort of like the descending passage of the Great Pyramid. And there are other interesting stones in the area. There's a piece of stone that's been cut in a very slight gentle curve, which is in one of the books by engineer Christopher Dunn. So we're going to see that and other things in the area as well. And then after that, we fly from Cairo to Aswan, and that's when the major tour begins. And we'll be exploring the quarry at Aswan. We're very fortunate in that geologist Susan Moore has just arrived. She's an absolute expert on geology and expert on geology in Egypt now. Most of the so-called granite stone that scholars claim is Aswan granite may or may not be. There is also the possibility that a lot of granite came from the Sinai area, which is very eastern Egypt. And so that'll be very intriguing to see as well. But it'll be a 12-day adventure. And after that, we have Jordan, and we also have Lebanon. So we're going to be going to Petra in Jordan, another site related to it called Little Petra. And we're also going to go to Baalbek in Lebanon for a much more extensive study of the location, because I've only been there once. And the problem is, when you go to a place once, you just get a general picture of what was going on. And so it really takes a second, third, fourth, or sometimes fifth trip to be able to get really into the detail. So I'm going to be looking at cataclysmic damage at Baalbek. Baalbek is not simply the stone called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman. There's the huge complex, which is located 1 mile away from the quarry, and there are also at least 100, and again I'll have to count them, maybe 200 granite pillars made each one of one piece of granite stone. Now that stone probably came from Aswan, and so you're talking a quarry 1,000 miles away. And each one of these solid pillars appears to have been turned on a lathe because they're perfectly circular. And you'll see that in much later detail when I go back to Peru and start making some videos. So, we're of course going to the Giza Plateau, we're going to Saqqara, we're going to a place called Abu Sir, another called Abu Ghurab, which I have documented before, but what's most important, again, this being my seventh yearly trip to Egypt, is to get into the more finer detail, focusing on the megalithic work, on the lost ancient high technology aspects, machine marks, try to figure out what kind of cutting tools were involved, penetration rate into the stone. From what we can see, the technology involved was much more efficient than what we have in the 21st century. And someone just made a note about Göbekli Tepe. Yes, we're going to Turkey in September. So we're going to Göbekli Tepe and many other sites there. It'll be my first trip to Turkey. So just a short little hello to you. The fact that I finally landed in Egypt after 35 hours of being in transit, and I'll most likely I may be making another video today for you, maybe with Susan and with Patricia Awian, or perhaps tomorrow on location at one of the mysterious places, and maybe two mysterious places we'll be seeing tomorrow, and then also the other mysterious place or places we'll be going the next day on the 6th before we fly to Aswan on the 7th. We have a group of 63 guests, I believe, and I think this is going to be the best of all the tours that I've done in Egypt, because now I'm much more focused almost solely on the ancient megalithic work and machine tool marks and things like that, not the dynastic works or stories of the pharaohs or whatever. So please stay tuned, and goodbye for now.